Uncle Doug,
Uncle Mark.
did you ever long for the olden days when things were just simpler?
It was a better time.
It was a better time when
Most of the time I do.
rather than one god, there were 9,000, and it was just, I don't know, it was a simpler time.
I don't know about simpler. I mean, it may have been. It was. I don't know, but it was a different time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. How far back you thinking?
Well,
Should we go back a couple thousand years?
Let's go back 3,000
why not?
years.
Some-ish
Let's
years?
go to the
4,000 years, maybe?
Let's go to the overgrown end of the graveyard of the gods and see what we can find.
I'll take you there.
All right.
Fellas,
Yes.
for today's foray into the graveyard, I'm launching into the Aeneid. That's right. We're going top-tier Egyptian today. None of those goofy lesser gods. We're doing a 100% bona fide major god.
All right.
And the Aeneid, as you both obviously know, is the most important out of a whole bunch of groupings of gods known in the ancient Egyptian as Pesagets. Now, as you are well aware, Uncle Mark, a Pesaget, which is spelled PSDT in the hieroglyphics because, and this is true, it is so ancient that they hadn't invented vowels yet.
Oh, Jesus.
It is a collection of how many gods?
47.
That's right, 9. And Aeneid is one of those wonderful words that comes to us from the Greek via Latin, and it also means a group of 9. So, Uncle Doug, that means that the great Pesaget, the highest of all the Pesagets, the Aeneid of ancient Egyptian gods, is a collection of... That's right.
87.
10 gods. Okay.
All I know
That's right.
is when you're a Pesaget, you're always a Pesaget.
That's right.
From
You're
your
a
first dying day
Pesaget
to your
to
last cigarette.
That's right.
From your first papyri to your last
Ba-doo-doo-doo-doo.
fire at the Library of
This is
Alexandria.
the second episode we've referenced Guys and Dolls.
I do think...
That's not, guys. Oh my God! Get out!
I do think it's strangely appropriate though because the Egyptian gods did like to dance fight. Anyway, moving right along. So yes, sometimes it's 9, but it can be a little tricky in terms of how many gods are in the Aeneid or Pesaget. Some scholars have written out explanations for why they include more than the name would suggest. Most articles I read, though, I'm pretty sure they were just hoping I wouldn't count. So, the Aeneid are the 9 great gods plus 1 who participated in the creation of the world according to those in the ancient city of Heliopolis.
So you got your Ra, you got your Osiris, you got your Horus, you got no.
Let's just relax for a minute.
Okay,
just relax.
I'm pretty excited about.
Trust me, we don't know anything.
The big 9.
We're going to get into this. Heliopolis, incidentally, is the Latinized form of the Greek name for the city of Lower Egypt that locals called Iunu, which meant the Pillars. Now it's just a suburb about 20 miles northeast of downtown Cairo. Does Cairo have a downtown? I don't know.
I would assume they do.
Big ass city, yeah.
Anyway, Heliopolis, from the Greek Helios, meaning sun, and polis, meaning city, the city of the sun, because it was there that the people really started worshiping the Egyptian sun god,
Ra.
That's right, Atum, who came to be identified with Ra, and that word identified plays a large role in the headache that was my research for this, because these fucking gods will not stay put. Here's the thing. I wanted to talk today about Atum's great-granddaughter, Isis. I read a fun little story about her, and I thought she'd be perfect candidate for this segment. But as is so often the case with these ancient gods, the stories got garbled along the way. They got mixed up. They mixed up one god with another. They confused themselves and each other, and now we're left to pick up the pieces. So, who is Isis? Well, first I should say that Isis is her Greek name. I'm really getting obsessed with this, with the whole languages thing. Her Egyptian name was Aset, or Ast, or Iset, or Uset, because vowels.
Right.
She was the daughter of the earth god Geb and the sky goddess Nut, Listen, once I got deep enough into my research, I stopped looking up pronunciations. Don't at me. Sister of Set, Nephthys, Horus the Elder, and the very famous Osiris.
Yes.
Now, try not to get too puritanical because we're about to go all Cersei and Jaime here. Because even though Osiris was Isis's brother, he was also her husband. Usually. I'm going now.
This is unexceptional in pantheons.
Yeah.
Incest is part of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Except that maybe he was her husband or whatever. Here we go. I'm just going to now read you a direct quote from a website called ancientegyptonline.co.uk because I really want you to understand what I've been up against here. Quote, because of her association with the throne, Isis was sometimes considered to be the wife of Horus the Elder, the patron of the living pharaoh. Ra and Horus were closely associated during the early Egyptian history, while Isis was closely associated with Hathor, who was described as the mother or the wife of Horus or Ra, and so Isis can also be considered to be the wife of Ra or Horus. Everything clear? Good.
This is kind of like reading early Mormon history.
Oh my God. Everybody is everybody else and was also married to everybody else and is also the parent
child.
of everybody else and the child.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So.
Look, they're a tight-knit group. We can leave it at that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So all of this was kind of cleaned up a little bit later on when they all seemed to have decided that Isis was, in fact, the granddaughter of Ra-Atum. Those two got associated.
Yeah.
The wife of Osiris and the mother of Horus. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Now.
Phew.
So Ra-Atum is one god. It's like Time Warner.
Yeah, exactly.
After the merger.
It's
Yeah.
like Time Warner.
It is like that. They literally did start just merge at some point.
Yeah.
They became the same guy eventually. Which, boy, that's the story of my life. Eventually, the mythology of Heliopolis was adopted as the national religion, presumably because of its simplicity and easy-to-follow narrative structure. And Osiris was rocketed to the top of the Billboard God charts, becoming King God of Egypt.
Osiris.
Osiris was,
Okay.
yeah. Isis was his loving wife.
Above Atun Ra.
Oh, well, he was their great-grandpa or something. So,
Okay.
So, it was like, you know, he had his day. He had his moment.
Okay, gotcha.
Isis was his wife and a god queen, and she was this paragon of good womanliness. She taught all the women trades like weaving and baking, and your favorite, Uncle Doug, beer brewing.
Hey-o.
And everything was lovely, but their brother Set, remember that they were all siblings, was grumpy, and he wanted to be king himself. So he plotted to kill Osiris.
So he was upset.
No.
Aenid puns. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not 100% sure how he did it, but I'm pretty sure it was one of those things where he got a big box and he propped it up with a stick attached to a string.
Yeah.
And then he put Osiris's favorite food under the box. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking like, Cap'n Crunch or something.
Probably falafel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Some papyrus. I don't know. What do they eat?
I don't think papyrus.
You don't know. And waited. So he waited behind a bush, and then he got him.
Yeah.
However he got him into it, he did trap Osiris in a wooden box, coated it with lead, and chucked it into the Nile, killing him. So now, all hail King Set. But Isis was pissed. So she scoured the whole world looking for her husband and eventually found the box. How she knew there was a husband in it, I do not know.
So she searched the whole world, and it turned out he was in the Nile, like 15 feet away.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually out of Egypt. It was a different part of the Nile, so she had to look a ways. Anyway,
Down probably in the Nubian region.
New bet. All right, and she brings the box back home, which pissed Set off. He set off. Anyway, Set was pissed. He cut
We should
Osiris.
start this over. This
This is just done.
Just getting so stale.
I'm just
Yeah.
ending it now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Set's reaction was to cut Osiris's dead body into a bunch of pieces and scatter them all over the world.
There you go. Game, set, and match.
God damn it. Enough Set jokes. I'm going to call him Seth now because half of the things refer to him
I'm
as
just not going to
Seth.
say anything the rest of this segment, as if I've left.
Uncle Mark has checked out. He did not know, however, he underestimated his sister's OCD because Isis went out and first of all, she turned into a bird and she enlisted the help of her sister Nephthys, and they went out and looked all over the world and found every piece of Osiris except one. Who wants to guess what part of Osiris
Is Willie?
his penis? They did not find his ding dong. So
So it's still out there.
I think in one part of it, in one version of it, it was eaten by a fish. So there you go. I mean, the type of fish really says a lot about like
Patreon goal.
I
is
think-
if we get to 9,000 patrons, we will find Osiris's penis.
we will.
I think the type of fish is by definition a blowfish.
Oh my God! What the fuck is happening?
Okay, let's get through this.
All right.
So she was undaunted by the lack of a member and bandaged him up and put him back together, and fashioned a new cock for him out of gold.
Oh,
No word on whether she was true to his original
So
size and shape.
he
or
got
if
he got an upgrade.
Yeah,
she fudged a little on the thing, but
totally
she
Jamie
definitely-
Lannister.
Yeah,
got an
exactly. Yes, it was Jamie Lannister. That's right. Then she did a little kooky goddess magic, and bibbidi Lorena bobbidi boo, we got the world's first zombie. Woo! So, and he really was pretty horrifying. Apparently, never actually really alive again. Sort of a Khal Drogo sort of thing. But also apparently not dead enough for her dirty purposes because. Whoopsie doodle, she necrophiliac garped herself a brand new baby boy.
Uh-oh.
So
And-
wait, the golden penis got her pregnant?
And that's how we get little Horace. Little baby Horace.
Yeah.
Isn't he cute?
So did he go settle shit with Set?
Well, that's the plan. Yes. He's got his mother's green eyes and his dad's golden dong. Anyway, the short version of the rest of the story is that Osiris went on to become king of the underworld, which, what an overachiever, that guy.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
And Isis had baby Horus and hid him from Uncle Set until he was old enough to become ruler of everything, or until he was old enough to challenge him for his father's throne, and then became ruler of everything forever and ever. Amen. And that's basically the story. There's a whole bunch of stories about her hiding Horus in the reeds and fighting off scorpions and snakes and whatever. There's a lot of other stories about her. She became this sort of paragon, as I said, of motherhood and womanlyhood. And family life was really important in Egyptian times, so that was actually a really big deal. She also had, by the way, she wasn't just a good role model for mothers, though. She had, like, the best of all of the magic of all the gods, including at one point, apparently, having been beheaded by her own son Horus, and then, getting better.
She's got the power, man.
Yeah, exactly. She fixed herself by attaching a cow's head to her body, beating Ganesha to the animal-headed punch by well over 2,000 years.
No kidding.
So good for
Yeah,
her.
for the fact that family life was so important in Egypt, I guess they created a pantheon to show how not to be.
Right, exactly.
Right? Do not emulate these people.
Marry your brother, get decapitated by your son.
Yeah.
It's just good family.
Get a gold dick.
But if you see images of Isis with the sort of big horns coming off of her
Yeah.
head, that's that cow thing.
Gotcha.
Right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So there you go.
She's having a bit of a branding issue these days. ISIS. No, I mean, hope she hires a good PR firm.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oh, well, because of the other ISIS.
Because of the other ISIS.
Yeah. You're talking, of course, about Archer and his...
Oh, that as well.
Anyway, as an art major, Uncle Mark,
Yes.
it won't surprise you at all to learn that many theorize that Isis and Horus, the baby Horus, super influenced the creation of the Jesus-Mary mythos.
Right.
And the images and statues of Isis and Horus then became the basis for much of the Jesus and Mary iconography. Except that Mary was little more than a demure, mostly silent demigod vending machine, and Isis was a legitimate badass.
Right. And I swear that there's something in the ISIS story that inspired the Moses story. Something
Probably
about
hiding the baby
It's
in
the
the
hiding the
reeds.
baby
Yeah.
in the reeds.
Yeah. think
That's
that was-
definitely part of that.
Yeah. Because they were all, the entire region was just borrowing, and stealing each other's gods. Then they'd intermarry, much like the people of the region.
Then they'd become their own grandpa.
Then they have abominable children that they have to hide in the bushes, and then the Ben-Hur.
Yeah, right. And then they make graphs of like the family tree of gods, and they call it the Aeneid, and they say that there are 9 of them, and there are 10. And I'm thinking, that thing took me like 20 minutes of research just to wrap my head around why there were not 10 gods.
You're right. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Because it says 10. There must have.
I'm like reading all about these Pesajets, and it says 9, and the Pesajet means 9, and Aeneid means 9, and I'm like,
There's 10.
yeah, or Ennead. I don't know. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, and yeah, I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Just kept doing it and getting madder and madder every time I did it.
Well,
anyway,
I'm sorry this upset you.
well, that's okay. I will have my revenge by cutting off someone's head and putting a cow on a penis.
Putting a gold dick on it.
So there you have it. That's a little bit about ISIS.
The completely not confusing
Right.
story of
Exactly.
someone who might be ISIS.
Right. Or whatever her fucking name is.
So let's put her back in the ground and continue on down the Nile.
Right on.